Hi guys. Something that I just feel to introduce to you all today is the understanding that energy follows thought. And this is a really vital component of beginning to understand that we are the creators of our reality. And we'll continue to discuss this in further detail, but we're just starting off with this concept and this understanding that energy follows thought. So really basically and really simply what this means is that whatever it is that you affirm on a mental level, but on an emotional level as well, whatever you affirm and whatever it is that you're thinking about, whatever it is that you're constantly running through your mental and your emotional bodies, will begin to become manifest in the physical world. You will begin to create more of that experience for yourself. And this is wonderful. When you really get this, it's wonderful because you begin to understand and really grasp how you can use your mental body and you can use your emotional body to create different experiences for yourself and to begin to create the kind of life and the kind of interactions and the kind of health that you wish to experience in your life through very deliberately and consciously directing the energy output, where and how you are outputting your energy and what it is that you're choosing to create for yourself. And you get to take back a lot of power that you've placed on feeling like you're a victim to things happening. Things happen to you. Things occur in the outside environment and they impact you and they decide and they choose what your experience is going to be. This allows you to take back that power, take back that control, and to begin manifesting the experience that you really want to have for yourself consciously. And that's wonderful, and it's a really, really vital component for anyone who is walking the path of healing on any level, physical, emotional, mental, on a spiritual level, whatever it is. If you're walking that path of healing, then really reclaiming that power and that ability to create your own reality is a really important part of that, because then you get to choose what's next. You get to choose what it is that you're stepping into, and you begin to feel like maybe you're in the driver's seat. Maybe you're not just a passenger to life. Maybe you're not a victim to, or not totally and completely a victim to circumstances. There are things that are beyond our control because we cannot manipulate others or take from their free will. But our experience and our reality, we can be creating that, and we can be choosing what it is that we create more of. So too often what I see in my clinic, but just in general out in the world as well, is people focusing on the negative of an idea, the negative of a concept. Too often people attempt to achieve something by focusing on what it is that they don't want, by focusing on what it is that they're fed up with or that they're done with or that they really, really wish to avoid. And for a lot of people, this is what kind of motivates them and kicks them off on this healing journey. But that reaches a point where you got to reclaim what it is that you're doing with your energy and start directing it in a positive way. So what this means is that instead of focusing on what you don't want, you begin to focus on what it is that you do want. You begin to focus and intentionally put your energy behind creating the ideal outcome, which means feeling into that ideal outcome, feeling into what is possible, and then just using your will to choose that and to choose to make that a reality and to choose to not let anything get in the way of that becoming the experience that you're going to have. And you're all capable of this. We're kind of encouraged to believe that we are victims to circumstances and that there are things that are beyond our control. There are some things, again, external things that are beyond our control, but our inner reality and our personal full body experience is ours, and it's for us to direct, and it's for us to manage, and it's for us to influence, and we are all capable of that. It's just the way that it is. Because what I want you guys to perhaps begin to ponder and explore is that your thoughts have a certain degree of form, and your feelings are, again, have a certain level and degree of form. They're not just vague things that don't actually exist. We've already discussed this concept of the four-body system and how the emotional, mental, and spiritual selves are like the physical body, just they vibrate differently. And they exist on a more etheric level, a bit more like electricity rather than something physical and tangible that you can touch and that you can see. But we all know that electricity has an impact. Although you can't necessarily see it with the naked eye, when you turn the switch on and the electricity comes, the light turns on. It has an impact, and it creates in the physical world. And it has an impact in the physical world, and it turns into something that you can touch and that you can see and that you can experience with your senses and with the physical self. And it's exactly the same. Your mind and your emotions work in the exact same way. The spirit self works in the exact same way as well, but we're really focusing on that mental, emotional self in this particular discussion. So whatever it is that you are transmitting on a mental level and on an emotional level has form. So that means that the air around you is always full of thought and ideas and ponderings and people's incomplete wonderings about things and people's emotions and their expectations, and the world, the realm, the environment is full of all of that stuff. And for you on a personal level, it's the same kind of thing. Every thought that you have has power behind it. And that power, that form that is that thought, moves out into the world or into your body and begins to create a reality. It begins to create reactions that manifest out into the physical world. So every emotion that you indulge, it has an impact, and you can be emotionally feeling or experiencing emotions in a way that is healing, where you're feeling everything that you're feeling and you're loving everything that you're feeling and you're raising the vibration of everything that you're feeling, so that indulging in that emotional sense isn't creating something negative, but is instead creating something that is healing. And it's the same on the mental level. You can have destructive thoughts. You can have critical thoughts. You can have judgmental thoughts of other people or of yourself or of the world or whatever it is that's going on. And as soon as you have that thought, you send it out. You begin to project it out at and towards whatever it is that you're having that thought about. And for a lot of us, we have this constant stream of negative thinking, these negative thought patterns directed at ourselves. I'm not good enough. I don't look good. I don't look like that person. I can't do it. I'm always in pain. My skin is bad. My gut is destroyed. I always mess it up. And we have this constant stream. And for all of you, I encourage you just to listen and pay attention and see if you can hear and begin to actually, I guess, get some kind of level of control over that constant stream of thought that's running. Because if you don't have that kind of mental control and that mental clarity, then that it is going to be running. And again, judgments about other people and what others are doing and the state that the world is in and what's going on, and all of this critical thinking is being released into the world and into your own body system. And as those negative thoughts, I'm going to talk about it being released into your body system more than out into the world today. But all of those negative thoughts that you direct at yourself are being received by the physical body and by the emotional body, And these bodies begin then to create that experience for you. And it's the same on the emotional level. If you're emoting something which is negative or which is degrading or which is not about healing and is not moving towards something, you're releasing that into your physical body, and your physical body will begin to create that experience for you. These bodies, for all their faults and flaws, are extremely obedient, and they take their cues from you on that higher level, and they do their best to create whatever it is that you are transmitting at them, the messages that they are receiving from you. And if they're constantly receiving messages that are degrading and that put you down and that are about how negative you are and how negatively your body is functioning, then the body, the emotional body and the physical body, but particularly the physical body, will perpetually and continually create more and more and more of that experience. It's just the way that it is. If the body receives messages from your mind, I'm so fat, I'm so ugly, I'm always in pain, my gut is ruined, then what the physical body receives is fat, pain, gut ruined, nothing working well, this is destroyed, this isn't happening, and it will create that. The body doesn't understand that you, on that mental and emotional level, aren't happy with that experience and wish to turn it around. The body is just responding to the messages that it is most intensely and most consistently receiving from you on that mental and emotional level. So what that means is that a lot of what you experience could perhaps be partly your creation and something that you are encouraging your body to continue to create for itself. But what it also means is that you have the power and the ability to take back that control and to begin to create a different kind of experience for yourself. But it does mean being very conscious and being aware of everything that it is that you're thinking and everything that it is that you're feeling, and turning all of that around so it can become something positive. So instead of focusing on the negative of an idea, you are actively focusing on the positive of an idea, the positive of an experience. So what that means is constantly encouraging your body and talking to your body and sharing with your body what it is capable of. I'm capable of health. I'm capable of being a comfortable weight. I'm capable of having a gut that works really well. I'm capable and I'm deserving, because a lot of this comes down to how deserving you feel, because a lot of you feel unworthy of even experiencing health and experiencing wellness and experiencing some kind of state of happiness or joy. So it's turning that around and instead choosing to believe that whatever that positive is, whatever that ideal is, if it's about health and it's about love, I am capable of it and I can create that experience for myself. And once you get a sense of what it is that's possible, what it is that you can create, how it is that you can live, how it is that you can feel, then you just put all of your energy into making that so. So when that thought begins to come that says, oh, I can't do it, I don't deserve this, or I'm too fat, or I'm too old, or whatever it is, you grab hold of that and you go, no, I'm capable, and this is what I choose, this is what I am creating. And that doesn't mean that you're suddenly going to be that ideal. You have to go through the process of healing. But what it does do is it intensifies and accelerates that process of healing. Because if you're focusing on the positive of an idea, you're focusing on that ideal, and that's what you're choosing, and you choose it consistently enough, then the mind and the emotional body and the physical body begin to experience that as being their reality. That ideal becomes their reality. And when that happens, it very naturally highlights and demonstrates to you the things that are not that. So it's going to show you the things in you that need to change so that that can become your reality. There are no free rides here. You can't just choose something and then suddenly be it. You choose something and then you create that as being your reality. But that means working with the bodies as they highlight and they show to you the things that aren't working, the things that are dysfunctional. Okay, so I know that I'm capable of living a really healthy life, and I know I'm capable of feeling joy and of being comfortable in my body. And you get a sense of how that feels, and then you go, okay, so what in me does not yet feel like that? And then you be with those parts of you that do not yet feel like that, and you work with them. You go through the healing process, because healing on this three-dimensional level takes time. That's just the way that it is. But it can be so much more graceful and so much more direct and so much more accelerated if you are consciously working with this positive thinking, this positive affirming, this positive focus on an idea and on a possibility. And it's going to highlight and it's going to wash up and it's going to show you the things that need to be healed, the things that need to be changed, and you'll go through an accelerated process of healing. But you've got to stay focused on what it is that you're choosing, and you've got to be willing to change as well, because it'll show you behaviors and thought patterns and ways that you eat and sleeping patterns and exercise patterns and all of that stuff that isn't working, but you are in a position where you're taking back your power, so you can see all of that stuff and you can go, great, that's awesome. I can work with that. I can change that because I know that I'm capable of this, and this is where I'm going, and nothing is going to stop me from achieving this goal. That's where I'm heading, and if this is something that needs to be let go of, and this is something that needs to be changed, and this is something that needs to be integrated for that to happen, then I'm doing that. And you choose it. And that choosing of it creates this will stream that just pulls you into it and directs you and slipstreams you to becoming that ideal and becoming what it is that you're focusing on. And it's much more healthy for the body as well, because the body isn't constantly being told that it can't do it and that it's not capable of anything more than chronic pain, and it's not capable of anything more than having bad skin or digestive issues or being depressed or whatever else the experience is. You're telling the bodies and you're giving them permission to have a different experience. And you're even going so far as to showing them what that experience can be, and then you're working with the bodies to create that. Because these bodies are capable of change. They were designed to be able to change. We've got rapid cell turnover happening in every cell of our bodies all of the time. The cells are reproducing themselves and letting go of the old cells and the things that aren't working. The immune system is working to annihilate and to target the things that are dysfunctional and that no longer serve us. There's this massive process of evolution happening on a physical level, but on an emotional level and a mental level as well. And you can utilize that process and use that process to your advantage by filling, for every cell that divides and multiplies and replicates itself, you can be filling those cells with love and with health and with healing and with potential and with possibility. And then as those cells replicate, certain DNA strands can be turned on and can be turned off, and the RNA can begin to resonate and express itself in a different way. And the cells themselves, because there's liquid in these bodies, there's these bodies, and every one of these cells is filled with liquid, and liquid alters its vibration depending on what it is that we're energetically projecting at that liquid. And there's a lot of science to back that up if you need some proof. So if you are constantly projecting love and healing and health and wholeness at your physical cells, but at your emotional cells and your mental cells as well, because they got their own cells. They may be on another level and vibrating differently, but they're there. Then eventually with that cell turnover, your cells themselves will begin to be made of this stuff. And they will alter in the way that they express, and in the way that they vibrate, and in the way that you experience. And you can be managing that. You can be directing that if you are using your ability as the creator of your reality to create positive outcomes. If you're focusing consistently on what it is that you want to choose more of, on what it is that you want to create for yourself, and if you're telling your bodies that they're worthy and that they're deserving and that they are made of love and that you do love them and that they are lovable, then the bodies will respond. And they will go through a process of healing. Again, it may take time. It takes 7 years for the cells in the body to go through a full turnover and transition, but there's an enormous amount that you can achieve in that time. And you can change a lot. You can change your perspective. You can change your experience of life. You can change what it is that you're becoming, and you begin to be able to direct your life force in that way. So a really vital key in really taking back that responsibility and that ability to create your reality is accepting and owning the fact that energy follows thought, and that you can create through thought and through emotion any experience that you choose hard enough to experience. And that can be positive or it can be negative. If you're constantly focusing on the negative and not being good enough and not being able and not being capable and not being healthy, and I don't want this and I don't want that and I don't want to be in pain and I don't want to have gut problems and I don't want to be fat anymore and I don't want to have skin problems and I don't want to be depressed anymore, if you stop focusing on the don'ts like that and instead switch to focusing on what you do want and what you are creating, I am creating joy. I am experiencing health. I am experiencing working with my body so that it can be restored to homeostasis. I am committed to discovering what that homeostasis is and the uniqueness of how my body is going to express. I am capable of not being in pain. I am capable of healing. I am capable of joy. And in fact, I choose this. I choose health. I choose to be whole. I choose to undergo this healing process. And this is what I choose, the positive, 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 positive. Then that message will be received and your bodies will respond and will begin to create that experience for you. You have free will, which means you have will, which means you have the ability to create and to set things in motion. You are not a victim, not entirely to your external environment. And even then, the external environment can't tell you how it is that you're going to respond. You get to choose your response to whatever it is that's going on outside of you. You get to choose that for yourself. But it means focusing on what it is that you want more of, what it is that you want to create and experience more of, rather than focusing on all of the things that you don't want and the things that you are done with and the things that drag you down and the things that make you small. So it's training the mind and training the emotional body, the emotional self, to focus, instead of focusing on the negative and what's not working, to focus instead on what is possible and what it is that you can create for yourself. And that doesn't mean that you override the things that aren't working. Again, you need to let yourself go through a healing process. So you're always focused on what it is that you're creating. I sense this as a possibility. So this is where I'm going, and I'm putting all of my energy into creating this for myself. But I understand that as I step on this journey and as I tread this path, there are things which aren't so positive that I'm going to need to feel, I'm going to need to heal, and I'm going to need to let go of. So that means that as you're choosing joy as your new experience, and as you're choosing holism and health as your new experience, you got to feel the pain that's in there. But by choosing, like, we'll stay with the joy, by choosing joy, choosing it ferociously and putting all of your energy and your creative power behind creating that as the experience for you, it's going to highlight the things in you that do not yet feel joy. So it's going to bring up where you feel sad. It's going to bring up where you feel that you are victim. It's going to bring up the memories of the times when you felt small, or you felt degraded, or you felt taken advantage of. It's going to bring up the depression for you that you may be feeling. But because you've got that goal of what it is that you're becoming, and it's not about overriding the experience of the things that are no longer working. You got to go through things to heal them. But you keep your focus on what it is that you're becoming, and it's going to help to pull you through those experiences as quickly as possible. So it's not overriding, it's going through the pain, going through the dysfunction, but actually going through it. Because what often happens is if you're just focusing on the negative of an idea, and then you get bogged down in the feeling experience of something that needs to be transcended and let go of, then you are going to get bogged down, because there's nothing to pull you through. There's no lifeline, there's no direction, there's no purpose, there's nothing that you're choosing to create for yourself. So when the big feelings come, or the big mental hurdles come, you're more likely to get stuck in what it is that's coming up, and you're more likely to just perpetuate more of that and create more of that as being your experience. So it's about having that goal. I'm choosing joy, and I'm choosing joy so ferociously that anything in me that is not yet experiencing that joy, I'm going to feel it, and I'm going to love it, and I'm going to raise its vibration so that it matches that joy that I am choosing. And again, not overriding. You need to be with yourself and be with everything that you're experiencing so that you can actually successfully heal and realign those parts of you that are experiencing dysfunction so that they are aligned to this new. But it's going to speed up that process and give you, it's like having a candle or the light at the end of the tunnel. You can see it and you know where you're going. So it makes it much simpler to go through whatever it is that you need to go through, because you know that there's an end result. And you know that if you keep choosing that end result, you're going to end up there, because energy follows thought. And if you're choosing to create that new as your experience, then it will become your new experience if you let yourself go through the process of feeling everything that it is that's coming up for you that needs to be felt, and letting go of the physical, not so positive habits that are no longer serving you, and installing new behaviors, installing new habits, installing new thought patterns, and going through that healing process in an accelerated and more determined and more steadfast and more deliberate and more conscious way. So I encourage all of you just to feel into that. It's good for you to have an experience of these things for yourself and not just take my word for it, but begin to pay attention to what's happening for you on a mental level. Where are you having that stream of negative thoughts and negativity that you're projecting at yourself? And where can you grab hold of those thoughts and those mental and emotional experiences and kind of frame them in a different way so that what's being received on an emotional and a physical level is the positive of an idea. And just begin to play with that. It does mean really consciously choosing this in every moment, and it means really listening and really paying attention to what you're thinking and what you're feeling, and consciously kind of changing and altering the pathway of what it is that you're thinking and feeling so that it can be the positive of something. It feels like this, but I choose this, and this is what I create for myself. And in creating this for myself, I choose to go through this process of healing and feeling. And I just be with everything that I'm feeling. I be with all of my thoughts that aren't working, and I be with myself physically, and I just keep affirming that new. I keep choosing that new, and I focus on what it is that I want to create more of. And then you can begin to extrapolate that out to your everyday life as well. Instead of focusing on, I won't forget where my keys are, I won't forget that I have to be at a meeting at 11:30, you focus on the positive of an idea. I will remember where my keys are, I will remember that I have a meeting at 11:30, and see how it changes things for you. Because if you're saying, forget meeting 11:30, the body receives that. Even though you're saying, I will not forget meeting at 11:30, the body receives, will forget meeting at 11:30, and it's much more likely to forget the meeting at 11:30. So it's turning that around to remember meeting 11:30. I will remember meeting at 11:30. And there are all different areas that you can begin to play with this and explore this in your relationships with people. I will not shut down. I will stay open. I will stay open. Otherwise, will shut down. And you will shut down. I will not get angry. Will get angry. You're going to get angry. I will remain in joy. Will remain in joy. And then that will be your experience. Again, you're going to have to work at this stuff, but you can take back that control and take back that ability to begin to create your reality. And we'll perhaps have a deeper look at how you relate with the external environment and how that plays out, but just really spend the time focusing on the thoughts and the emotions that you are projecting inwards at yourself, and begin to focus on the positive of an idea rather than focusing on the negative of an idea. And you start to use that creative will to create that for yourself, to choose that for yourself, and just keep stepping towards that. And see what you're capable of, see what you can let go of and what you can transcend, and how you can begin to have a different experience. And have a play. See if it works for you. Become the creative being that it's possible for you to become. And start taking back that power.